sometimes we find ourselves doing something that we're good at, you know. In your case, it might be cutting hair. And one day you could wake up and possibly have carpal tunnel in your hands. And you could be like, okay, well, you know, what am I doing here? It's my experience that finding out your why before you do your what is, there's tons of value in that.
How's it going, Jed?
It's going pretty good.
So Jed is one of my regulars. Do I see you every 3 weeks or something like that, or 4 weeks, or?
Every 4 weeks, I think it is.
Yeah.
So
Jed is one of those people that I know what his haircut is, but I always forget exactly what we're doing. But we're pretty much doing a mid-bald fade, right? Like bald it out somewhere in here.
Yeah, a little higher, maybe.
Yeah, somewhere right in here.
Yep.
We do a hard part, and I never take it short enough in the front, so try to take it as short as possible, right?
Yeah.
That it kind of goes to the side.
But not too short that it
too
sticks up. So.
Yeah, sounds good.
Should I take my glasses?
Yeah, I got them for you.
There you go. Good.
So Jed, you're a Hamburgian from Hamburg area.
Well, kinda. So our family, we live out towards Lenhartsville, between Lenhartsville and Kempton.
Yeah.
And went to Kutztown School, which is a little further away for us, but on that side of the line. So we're on the other side of the line.
Nice.
You know, so it's we're not hamburger people,
Yeah.
but no,
That's funny.
But we do most of our business and stuff in Hamburg. We attend church in Hamburg. We do our banking in Hamburg. We kind of come this direction for a lot of what we do.
Nice.
So
yeah. And tell us a little bit about like what you do for your job and what kind of some of your passions are.
So my family and I, we own and operate a campground. Like I said, outside of Lenhartsville, and it's a family campground that is a place for people to. We're open to the public. People come and enjoy vacation time together, and it's just a place for people to just kind of recharge their batteries and get out in nature and be able to really discover and enjoy the gifts of God's creation and just get away from their regular everyday life. So it's kind of like an environment that is a bit of an escape from reality for a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's what we do. And it's a campground that's been in business since 1930.
Oh, dang.
And a tourist attraction for even before that. People would come to visit the Blue Rocks. We're the Blue Rocks Family Campground, and in Berks County and Kutztown and Lehigh Valley, even for years it was considered the famous Blue Rocks. So Blue Rocks Boulder Field, and it's kind of like a geological feature that's right off of the mountain right here, and it's above the Hamburg Reservoir, below the Pulpit Rock Lookout Point and the Pinnacle Lookout Point, just off of the Appalachian Trail. And for years, people would come to visit the rocks and spend a day climbing on the rocks and hiking around there. And it's a kind of place that transformed from a tourist attraction where people would come for the day to a place where people would spend the night. And it evolved from a tourist attraction that people could stay overnight to eventually becoming a campground that's had this tourist attraction. So,
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So it kind of flip-flopped the what the most utilized it was for.
Yeah, we've had our first grand opening. We have advertised documentation from June 29th of 1930.
Oh, wow.
When the campground opened as Blue Rocks Park. And it was come visit the famous Blue Rocks off of the paved roads. So it was, It's kind of how they advertised to get there. It was, you know,
The one paved road.
yeah. And in 1930, Route 143 was the big highway. I mean, that was kind of Route 143 and old Route 22 were the roads that were in this area that kind of led to all places before there was ever, you know, Route 78 or 22, something like that.
Nice.
So.
Yeah, and that's pretty cool. And like, it's always been, you've been encouragement to me in business. You've helped me kind of encourage me in how to kind of get some different, even things like a handbook in place and different values and things written down. And that's been really encouraging to me. But something that's not just an isolated thing, that's something that you're passionate about, is kind of encouraging people especially Christians, to live like Jesus in their businesses, right?
Yeah, so my business is to rent campsites. So that's pretty much, if you were to define what we do as park owners, the short and sweet of it is, well, we rent campsites. And oftentimes I discount my perspective because that's what I do for a living. But truly what we do is we've defined our mission as providing an atmosphere where people can discover and enjoy the gifts of God's creation, and while creating memories that'll last a lifetime. So our goal is to really create memories that'll last a lifetime. And when we think about how to accomplish that, we start to think about, well, how can we do this so that we can be consistent in, you know, providing an atmosphere where people can, you know, create these memories that would be scrapbook memories, or memories that when they're, you know, they're older, they're telling their kids and their grandkids and stuff about the experiences that they had. And, you know, we thought by doing that, we need to systematize some of the things and you know, gleaning as much as we can from successful business owners that we've become friends with. We've realized that we need to create systems and put those in place in order for us to accomplish the goal on a consistent basis. But
when did you start valuing, like as an individual or even as a organization, bringing other people's input from outside into what you do?
Well, I'd say it was from a real young age. So my brother and I, we own and operate the Campground together, and we've been in business, well, since, well, we grew up there at the Campground. My dad raised us there pretty much since I was about 9 years old. Growing up in the business. My mom had passed away when we were real young, and my brother and I were there together with my dad. My dad, he didn't remarry until after we were grown. He did early on, and it didn't work out. And then he didn't remarry until I was out of high school or whatnot, you know, and on with my own life. But my brother and I were running the business, I don't know, since we were young kids, and we went to conventions and Pennsylvania Campground Owners Convention, National Campground Owners Convention. Since we were young, my brother and I are both the youngest graduates. I guess I would be considered the youngest graduate of the National School of RV Parks and Campground Managers. I'm a certified park operator, but I would be probably considered still the youngest graduate from that school.
Yeah.
So from early on, we realized that that trying to do things on our own without the help of others was just a foolish thing to do. So our dad really encouraged us to tap into the knowledge of those around us, and I think that was a huge lesson that we've learned. My dad,
he really instilled it in you guys then.
yeah, he
like.
sure did. So my dad never graduated high school, and I think that because of that, because he didn't have a formal education, he had to learn as he went, and because of that, it really developed a resourcefulness within him that has created a lifelong learning process where, if the thought process is that you'll learn it in school and then you'll be good, he's kind of the opposite from that. So a common sense approach to doing things, just trying to figure it out. And when you can't figure it out, surround yourself with people that are known to be able to figure it out. I think that those are some of the greatest lessons that my dad's taught my brothers and I. Is that when we don't know the answer, we could find it out. And I'm old enough to realize that there was life before the internet. So you couldn't just Google the answer back then. And it really forced us to develop relationships with people that were different than us. And I think it was pretty cool because it's allowed us to not be intimidated by having conversations with people that may have a different status than we do. I've always considered myself a work in progress. So although I could offer you some tips on what's worked for me, I've never claimed to be an expert myself. So always continuously working on it. But our faith has really been a driving force on what has given us the inspiration to learn more and to be able to do more with our business than we could ever imagine possible on our own. So we have this place, and both my brother and I together, we've come to the conclusion that there's people that are often smarter than us and maybe work harder than us, that don't have the same opportunities that we've had. And, I'd have to say that we've been blessed with the ability to do the things that we can for a specific reason. And I believe that reason is for us to honor God with the things that we say, do, and think about, and it gives Him the credit for our success and whatever it is that we do. We're still human and we blow it and don't always make the best decisions, but when we humbly recognize the fact that God has blessed us with a responbility, we kind of try not to take that responsibility lightly, and
for sure,
and just do the best we can with what we have to work with. We realize that when we do that, we try to do the best we can with what we have to work with, and we start to realize that we gain more to work with. So it just builds on it. And
compounds.
So we keep working hard at it, and I think that one of my favorite authors that I often read, and I listen to him too, is Mark Batterson, and he had mentioned in one of his books that for best results, pray as if it depends on God and work as if it depends on you. And I kind of hang on that. I think that's a pretty good one to remember. And I think that's kind of helps us to do well with what we have. So
Yeah. Now, I heard you mention a little bit earlier about kind of having this vision that you guys have and this kind of goal that you go for to create, create memories that last a lifetime. How would you encourage someone who is in business or think about starting a business that doesn't have kind of that vision statement or that vision behind what they're doing, other than, because I know when I started the business, it was like, well, let's just get this going. Let's make sure we can cut some people's hair and make sure it's the best experience for them. But it wasn't a very specific, other than I value people and I tried to bring my values into it.
Right.
What would you say is so important about actually bringing a specific, like writing down a statement?
Yeah, well, so sometimes we find ourselves doing something that we're good at, In your case, it might be cutting hair. And you're cutting hair because you're good at it. And, I think that you could do that for a long time. And one day you could wake up and possibly have carpal tunnel in your hands and your back sore or whatever from standing around the chair for all those years. And you could be like, okay, well, what am I doing here? And it's my experience too that the importance of finding out your why before you do your what is there's tons of value in that. So if you find out your why and then you use your skills to perform your what, then you're starting to hit on all cylinders. You know what I mean? So in our case, renting campsites and just being a place where people can come and have fun is good, but camping wasn't always what it is today. So camping was kind of like the cheapest thing to do.
Yeah.
And because of that, we never made any money. So when you don't make any money, you start to think about what you're doing and why you're doing it.
Yeah.
And if you're making money, well, then sometimes that could overshadow why you're doing what you're doing.
That could almost be a negative thing to just be quote unquote successful but not have a vision.
Sure. Well, I think that there's nothing wrong with that if that's your goal. If your goal is, well, for this season of my life, I'm just going to make money. That's what that's fine. You could put an end date to that and say, well, I'm going to do this for so long and then I'm going to retire and I'm going to do this, or you think about what your future looks like after you're done doing this, and that's all good. Like, those are all good things. But if you could live your life and feel fulfilled while you're doing the things in your most productive years of your life, then I think that's really what living life is all about. I think wait until you're retired to live life. It's kind of a sad way to live. I think embracing your work as a means to accomplish your mission makes going to work a whole lot easier. I think that it's just one of those things that I've never been that interested in making money, because if I was, I'd probably go out and do something else. But, not that I don't appreciate making money. It's just that if that was the main thing, then the business that we're in wouldn't be the business that we're in.
Yeah.
Now, granted, in the last few years, and when I say few years, I mean probably the last 10 to 15 years, maybe a little bit longer.
Yeah.
camping has become a little bit more of a luxury lifestyle, and it's afforded us the opportunities to make improvements that we didn't think that we could, necessarily do before.
Yeah.
So
things that people didn't want to pay for. They're like,
yeah.
well, that's not really necessary. That's not the reason I'm camping.
Yeah. So the perceived value of camping has increased tremendously, which is pretty cool.
That is nice.
And but I think it's good that it wasn't that way early, because if it was that way early, we probably wouldn't have been as focused on recognizing that we've been entrusted with a gift, and how we steward that, or how we handle the things that we've been entrusted with, has been something that's caused us to think about how we operate. And when we do that, we look at things a little bit differently. We look at things from a long-term perspective. So my family, we've been in this business for 35 years, and this is our 35th year, I think.
Wow.
Since 1988. So we've been there for quite a while. But and now, my dad's been retired now 20 years, I guess, something like that. Yeah. And my brother and I, we do it with our wives, and our kids are there beside us, and they get to be part of the process. And so that's kind of a cool thing, that we are able to work with our family and do that. But when we think about the plans that we have, or the way for us to accomplish the mission of creating a place where people can discover and enjoy the gifts of God's creation while creating memories that'll last a lifetime. So when we think about that, we think about where we're at. We're 35 years into this deal, and we're just getting started.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, we got a lot of room to grow. We've started with a property that has a ton of potential to be able to create different experiences for people to come to, and that's pretty cool. We've been blessed with that opportunity to be at this piece of property that we're at and be able to do that. But when we think about it, and I often use the term we, because it's a family thing. We're in it together, and we think about it. It gets us excited about what the future has. But when we don't think about it, we go to work every day, and we're just doing what we got to do.
I'm sure it gets more tiring when you're doing that.
It's so hard to see the forest through the trees. That I don't know if you've ever heard that analogy. It's hard to see the forest through the trees. So sometimes you got to get back, step away, look at it from a different perspective, and just regain some focus on what we're doing, and just look at it from a different lens. And that's kind of got us, it's gotten me excited about getting connected with other business owners in our local area that aren't necessarily involved in the outdoor recreation or outdoor hospitality business, because that's the industry in which I'm in. It would be considered the outdoor hospitality industry. But we've started to learn the value of connections with people that are not necessarily in that industry, but local people. Because really it doesn't matter what your widget is or what your thing is. It's, if you have a service to offer, or a product to provide, or in our case, a space for people to relax at. The way to accomplish those goals of producing the product, or producing the experience, or just providing the service. If we do these things similarly, with honoring God with the things that we do, we look at His perspective, and we look at how he did what he did. So, in our business, like I said, it's renting campsites or providing a place for people to create these memories. In your business, it's giving a haircut. In Jesus's business, it was opening up the eyes of those that were headed towards a hopeless life, and giving them hope, and giving them a perspective of an eternal future. And I think that he did that with excellence. He did that in the way that he loved people. He did that in the way that he had, paid the ultimate sacrifice. And so if we take that approach as to, whatever the mission is that we have in our business, and we take an out-of-the-box approach that we think outside of what, the world thinks is successful, whether it would be, looking for the highest profit margins, or, just trying to get our best bang for our buck. Well, and we adjust that to how can we accomplish our mission in the best way possible. And the finances become a byproduct of the mission. And I think that when we embrace that, we could do business and do life in a more with more freedom, I guess. It's kind of, you walk with a little bit more pep in your step. You have a little lighter on your feet, because you're not grinding for the paycheck. You're working on, man, how can I do this? But on the other hand, you could take it to heart when you blow it. And it's like, man, kind of like if you mess up my haircut, you're gonna, probably feel bad about it. But there's times where, we can't necessarily deliver on what the mission is that we have. But that's where we really embrace grace, and we recognize that each day is a new day, and tomorrow we could start fresh. And so that's what's really inspired us to get connected with other business owners that kind of, feel the same way. I know that in conversations, like my conversations with you here at the chair, and some conversations I've had with other people, there's quite a few like-minded individuals that want to embrace that way of doing business. They don't want to be working for the buck every day. And I think that there's quite a void in our community for people to get together and encourage one another, and to serve with one another, and to just have somebody there to listen to, and to listen to us that doesn't think that we're completely crazy. And even if they do think we're completely crazy, though, they at least, they might be a little crazy themselves too. So, I mean, just being able to get together with other like-minded individuals and encourage them, and kind of just be a resource for those that are looking to start something up, or ready to take that step, and they're just a little nervous on doing it. Sometimes you just need a group of people around you to encourage you, and to make you feel like it's it's going to be okay to do that stuff. I mean,
in one way, you kind of have started the ball rolling for that for other people, because you embrace it young. And you found it from your dad, kind of in these different places where you're found the value in it, and you found your own group of people to have your back there. But I think what's been really cool has been, you've invited me into it, and invited a bunch of other people The last meeting I didn't get to, but you said over 40 people like were there.
Yeah.
And I forget how many were the first one, but it was a lot of people where you've created what you call the foundation. And tell us a little bit about what that is and then what inspired you.
Sure. So, like I mentioned, faith is a big part of who I am. I believe that God's entrusted me with the abilities to be able to do some of the things that I've done. And I think that there's a few other people that I've met and I'm fairly close with that also feel the same way. And we realized that getting this group together would be, positive impact on the community. And we're trying to figure it out what we were going to call it. What are we going to call the name of this group? Are we going to call it Christian Business Group, or I don't know? Are we going to call it whatever? We had a million different ideas, and then it came down to, the Bible says, "Seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things will be added to you." And the priority in seeking first is what I thought, man, it's kind of like the foundation of how we should, operate, and how we've embraced that idea of being in business is to, prioritize what comes first, and that's where the foundation came from. So that's where the name the foundation came from. So, and we look at that and we say, okay, well, if we build on this, so the foundation is really a faith-based business support group, pretty much. I mean, that's a faith-based business support group that encourages others to operate their businesses with biblical principles in a way that would honor God, and also be there for, when we fall short of being able to do that. There's other people around too that are like, man, we're trying to do the same thing and we blow it occasionally, and it happens. And, fortunately, we live under God's grace, and we're able to pick up the pieces and move forward and keep going, and not just survive but thrive. So the idea is to encourage everyone that attends the foundation meetings to thrive in their business, but to thrive financially, to thrive in their community, and even at home, being a leader in starting with leading yourself, as well as leading your family, leading your business, and leading your community. And sometimes it could even lead outside of your community. So however big that may be, or big or small that may be, it depends on the individual. But in our case, the foundation is the start from where we build from. So yeah,
that's cool. And how would you say is the best way for people to kind of get connected with what you guys are doing?
So we just have put together. So we've had our second meeting. So this is pretty early.
Yeah.
First meeting, we had about 30 guys or gals. It's open to any entrepreneur out there, whether it be guys or gals. So we had about 35 people at the first one. We had 40 people at the second one. We've created a Facebook group. It's the foundation. It's on Facebook. It's also on LinkedIn. We also created a email address. We are built on the foundation at gmail.com. And we'll
have all this in the notes too.
Yeah, so you could check us out
all
there.
The links.
we're meeting every other month. So we just had a meeting in July. We'll meet again in September. We've been trying to shoot for the third week of the month on a Wednesday afternoon. And it is a bit intentional that we meet during the day. I know myself, I'm in business, but I'm also a busy family guy. So I'm married and have 4 kids that have extremely busy schedule. So our evenings are always tied up. It's very hard to get away in the evening. And I thought that, myself and the other founding members are, Scott Lasig is one of them, and Mark Caston's another, Pastor Mark Caston. We had talked about the best time to have it, and right now we decided that we'd have it in the middle of the day, just be a luncheon, and it would be, you'd have to be able to make your schedule to make it work. And if I thought that if we could find value in it, we can make it a valuable thing, then people will take the time to do it. It's not something that I was looking to get as many people to as possible.
Yeah.
It was to get as maybe not as many people, but people that are interested in being intentional with that stuff.
Getting the right people there.
Yeah. So that's the idea.
Nice. Yeah. We're finishing up the haircut in just a couple minutes. What would be kind of your closing encouragement to someone who is kind of in the place where they're either new to being a part of something, whether it be a business or working somewhere or joining in with an organization? How would you encourage those types of people to kind of get involved in a way, whether it's their thing or someone else's thing, to get involved in a way that they feel that there's purpose in what they're doing?
So my encouragement would be to, find out why you're doing what you're doing. What are you doing it for? And if you're young and you're not ready to start your own thing, and you go to work for a company, you're in a season where you just need to make some money, which that's, we all start there. Then my encouragement would be to find out the why of those that you work for. Everyone is looking for employees. Everyone, every place you go, somebody's looking. They're looking for help.
Yeah.
But my encouragement would be find out why they do what they do, and get on board. If you can't embrace the why, then the what is going to lose its luster.
Yeah.
So embrace the why. Look for a reason to do what you do, and just start to do the little things like they're big things. And you do little things like they're big things, and big things will start to turn out like they're little things. So
yeah, that's awesome. Show you the haircut real quick.
Yeah.
Give you your glasses so you can actually see.
Sweet.
How's that looking for you, Jed?
Yeah, looking good. It'll work.
Sounds good. Thanks for doing this, Jed.
Yeah, no problem, man.